Hello, children. About 4:15 a.m. Wednesday max day. We're doing the towel, but we're not doing that riser motion. We're doing more of a side pressure, top, not side pressure, just say that. More of a top roll, pronating style. This is the weak movement that Dave Chafee, my practice with the Dave Chafee has exposed that I'm weak on this motion. So we're a little tired this morning. So we're doing a lot of volume with this, and we're going to try a max effort day as well. There's only 30 pounds on it now. As always, max effort day starts with zero load. You don't load up and then do the weight. You can lift a lot more that way. As always, max day is deadlifting, not squatting. Well, that's only 30 pounds anyway. Things are just a little sore. So, I've been going through the subscriber suggested topics, and I got a orange or pink or whatever color that is post-it note. Let's go to 50 of topics people wanted covered. Excuse me, I'm going to put this right here just so I can see it. Somebody wants to know about elbow positioning on the pads. 50 pounds, still a warm-up. I don't know can't remember the last time I did this exercise. Elbow positioning on the pad. A lot of it is determined for you just based on your opponent. Obviously, if your opponent is taller or has a longer arm than you, in order to keep the match centered in the pegs, the taller, longer arm guy is going to have to come back, and the shorter guy can come forward. Now, if you watch the Brezink-Lorette match, you saw Devin with his longer arm was pushing way forward on John and trying to, lower his hand a little bit. Well, that was forcing John up, but John could never get his fingers around. John should have fought that longer, but John's just a nice guy, so he doesn't do that. I think he would handle it differently next time. So anyways, forward to backwards, you don't really have a lot of say in. It's nice to be the shorter guy so you can get your arms straighter up and down. The issue there is you can no longer generate height, where the tall guy, if he brings his elbow back a little, and even more so if he drops his knuckles a little, then on go, they can sink down, pull that tricep to the pad, and generate all that height, where the shorter guy is trying to contain that with just his fingers, right? As that hand, as the opponent's pushing up, the shorter guy's forced to come down. A lot of times you'll see the short guy come off the front or up, because he's trying to pull down. He can't engage your back because your elbow pad's there, so it's all hand, where the tall guy can drop that weight down. So best bet for the shorter guy to try to supinate a little bit and see if you can't get something sideways going. Now you can use your shoulder to try to contain that up motion. Whew. So that's forward, backwards. Different reffing. Let's try 60. That seems like a little fun. Different reffing will influence your side to side. Shoulder pressers like to set up crooked to the table. You know, most top rollers and hookers will set up square, or they'll set up like this, but they approach the table forward. Pressers want to be like over here, and sometimes they'll twist their hand because they're coming this way. In that case, if you know the guy's really committed to that press, not a press where he transitions, but he's going to hit that press from go. Give me a second. What do we got here? 60 pounds. I am just not feeling it today. So that shoulder presser's coming this way. If they're tall, you need to set up in line with them. You don't want to be here and have the presser pushing your hand outside your shoulder. You don't want to be set up this way, have them pushing that way. You want that presser pushing your hand into your shoulder. So if he's set up crooked, you set up crooked, because you're going to either try to come this way and pull that presser out of his line. So as he's coming down, you want that hand going this way, or you're going to top roll and come out. So as he presses down, you end up top rolling him outside his hand. So you're either coming forward and knocking his hand back, or you're coming out like that and forcing him, usually flop wrist. So kitty corner if the guy sets up to press. What did I just do? Right, left hand. Whew. I heard ginkgo biloba is good for your memory, but I keep forgetting to take it. So forward, backward, we covered diagonal. If you're top rolling, if you're going to top roll this way or this way, you can set up center, or even, or even a little towards your winning side to force those guys a little off center. I don't top roll on. I will sometimes, though, set up, I sometimes set up on the outside of the pad. I'm trying to figure out what forces me there. I think it's because the top roller's hogging that side. I don't usually mind if I can get my hip into the table and get way outside. Oh yeah. So then when they hit, if I can get just a little bite and I'm really at this outside edge corner, but it gives me a lot of elbow move. I can float my elbow and drag it from one side to the other. Other than that, like I said, there's not a lot you can control on that. Your height determines it. I guess the most important thing is, if you're setting up with somebody who's going to press, you want to be crooked to him, and that'll almost force you to the back side of your elbow pad, not to the inside, because then the rest will end up fighting you on that. That's pretty much elbow positions. Normally, try a couple of things and get comfortable. It's more important to be comfortable than worry about any positioning. Oh, I already moved the weight to 70. 70 pounds. Man. Other topic. Biggest jerks in arm wrestling. I am not going to start a war on social media with somebody. So this is not going to be as inflammatory as whoever, I can't remember, I'll have to look up the name of whoever suggested it. So for the most part, the people in arm wrestling are fairly decent folks. You got to make allowances for the competition version of people and their normal day-to-day version. So just like there's your gym maximum effort and your competition maximum effort. There's the same thing in competition. I got very close friends who are completely different in competition than they are in real life. So for the most part, cut some people some slack. But the one thing I don't like, and it's proliferated quite a bit in Facebook, more so in Facebook than YouTube, but just the fake profiles. In YouTube, almost every profile's fake because there's names like Devin's Pancakes is a username or something, which is cute, but they don't really use it to just completely try to destroy people. But Facebook, especially a few of those arm wrestling pages, it's just all fake accounts. People know they're fake accounts. They use that just to spread lies or character assassinate people. What I would think would be clever, you folks that are on Facebook more than me, is launch a fake account exposure, not page or task force or something. So when you got somebody who's obviously a fake account, enlist all your network and try, sort out who it is and expose them. I just gotta check something. Whew. I saw a green light in the screen and I thought that meant standby, so I wasn't going to retape all of this. I was just gonna start from here. But it's funny, I'll get a friend request from a fake account and I'll see oh, I've got 35 mutual friends with this person. I know this person's fake because there's never face pictures or competition pictures. They're all into arm wrestling. So, one of you intrepid people out there should run arm wrestling fake counts page where those of us could say, hey, I submit something I think the Jill Monroe account is fake. I know it's fake. I think it's this person. And you people go out there and figure out who it is. There is his hand's flopping. There's something I watched once. I can't remember. It was a famous actor. I think Shia LaBeouf. I don't know how you pronounce his name. Little scrawny guy was he was protesting something or supporting something. I can't remember. It's been a while. But he would post a flag. He had a flag standing somewhere, trying to keep it secret where it was. And it was taking people a day to figure it out. These people would get on the internet and they would judge by the sunlight and a plane flew overhead and they cross-referenced it with sunrise tables and jet patterns and people were finding out where this flag, and he moved it 2 or 3 times. And these people, just by looking at a video of a flag, would figure out who it is. Now I'm not expecting that level of effort or cleverness, but some of you cheeky monkeys out there are pretty smart. You can sort out who these fake people are. Ugh. I mean, I don't care if it's a fake account.
Well, I mean, not me. It's not about me.
I would hazard a guess that most of us don't care if it's a fake account, if it's innocuous or funny or humorous, but when it's just mean, when you're just destroying stuff for no reason than to destroy it, or to go, look at me, I'd like to find out. I think we'd all like to know who those folks are. That was 90. The right hand's actually holding up. The left hand flopped a little bit. And I still feel just dogged tired. Wait, did I do 90? Or did I do 80? We'll try 90 again. Or 90 for the first time. It's very hard to do this talking when there's nobody down here. So that's jerks. Somebody asked how to hook. Can't really. How you hook kind of depends on what the other guy's doing. I'm a fairly defensive arm wrestler. I'm not an offensive arm wrestler. John Brazine's famous for being able to hook anybody he wants. I'm famous for, if I get in a hook, I'm pretty good. Putting people in the hook is not a specialty of mine. I don't think I did 90 last time. That felt like I'd never done. I can tell my wrist is starting to go flat. I have to start keeping track of what we're doing. Left, right. 90 pounds by 2, floppy wrist. That was ugly. 90 by 1, flat. Anyways, how to hook. I can't really tell you how, because like I said, it depends on what the other person's doing. But there's a few basic things on hooking you can consider. It'd be easier to show another person, but a classic is you get hooked over, you cup somebody in, you supinate somebody in, primarily with your fingers, and you drag them backwards. Either you drag them pad to pad, or you're dragging them corner to corner. Usually end up away from the table, fairly open arm position, but it's primarily just hooking onto them with your fingers and dragging them. That's the classic. It's hard to set that with a posting top roller. It's not so bad if the top roller goes sideways. And if you're confident that you can drag them back, a lot of times you'll get that hook set on a losing position. But if you can, and if you get that barrel of monkeys cupping grip on it, even if you get it set deep, Krasimir is good at this move. And then dragging it back. There's more. Let me see. And move up to 100 pounds. Another classic hook move, what I like is, especially if they're a top roller, you set up square to the table. If they're pulling back, you lift up, so you're floating your elbow, but you're counteracting back pressure with up pressure. But on go, you visualize opening your fingers and dropping down. So you're crashing down in the center. So they're loading backwards, right? You lift up and then you come down, right? So your grip is you get a little bit lower grip on their hand, but when they're trying to come back and they're out, you're centered and coming down towards the center. Bring your shoulder back a little bit. So you lift up, 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 and you hook here. You're a little bit more closed, you're not as open. From here, you can go sideways or just keep driving right down to the center of the table. Then there's how John hooks. John sets up here. How John hooks me, I don't know if John sets up here and he either top rolls this way or he hooks this way. It's a very efficient move for him because he can switch from one to the other. So he gets his classic fingertip on thumb, top roll is kind of sideways, hook is kind of sideways, just a slight twist of the wrist. A twist of the wrist. That's two. I guess the last one would be not so much a hook, but it's still an inside game where you clamp primarily with these fingers. You're trying to get high, high, high. You're still floating, and as soon as go hits, you're not so much crashing down or hooking this way. You're just going flat-wristed, peg to peg sideways. If it turns into a hook, you're here. If it turns into a top roll, you might lose your hand, but you're just blasting sideways to that peg, not to the corner, right? So think of driving the force from the center of your hand here. Hopefully you get supinated in and you get the guy here. But if not, if your knuckles up, even if your knuckles are back, but they're up, you can still fight through your elbow. If you get your knuckles, if your wrist is back and your knuckles are down, it's hard to dig your arm out of that. That might be, oh, we should add a dump. Nobody's asked, but a good topic that I would ask somebody, I'd say, hey, Uncle Todd, when is it an opportune time to dump a match? Take a loss, go through the loser's bracket, or take a loss early in a super match. You know, when do you no longer fight for the win? Have to think about that. I'm counting that, even though my wrist flopped. Even though my wrist went back, I'm still trying to activate the pronation, but it still moved over, and it's still this, holding on to these towels, it's just, that moves the force. You know, instead of down here where the wrist would be, or even the palm, it moves it so far up, it adds that little bit, you know, that 2 inches out of, say, 18. So it adds 10% plus leverage to the elbow. I feel it all in my hand. I don't feel that pressure in my elbow at all. So, dragging down Johnny sideways. I think that's the base. That's enough hook things for you to practice and practice. For you to try and practice. Work on all of them. You'll see what works better and what works not. And when you're in practice, if you're trying to develop a hook, take your elbow pad away and leave your opponent on his. That gives them a height advantage. Makes it very hard to hook them. But that's the kind of stuff you want to learn in practice anyway. Nope. We'll try 105 pounds. I don't think 110's happening today. Well, it's certainly not happening right now. Oh, I'm just tired, boy. Somebody asked about training during COVID. If you own your own gym, my training was unaffected during COVID. Those of you who had to go to public gyms, you know, home equipment became real expensive. I feel for you. My best advice back then would have been get some rubber bands and, you know, there's a whole homemade arm wrestling video I made. You guys could have done that during COVID. Train in your garage, not miss the beat. It's the way I trained for 10 years or so before I got the lovely pin stack from Dave Dutton. As I rest here, grippers. These are super popular when I came in here. This is a Captain's of Crush 3. This is a Captain's of Crush 4. This one is in almost like new condition and it's probably 12 years old. This one's over 15 years old. Never closed it. Never closed the number 3. And today will be no different. I've gotten it so close where maybe the credit card would have gone between it. I was staring at it and I could still see light behind it, but the interference patterns between the two handles were overlapping. So it was close, but I've never closed it. I spent a year one time just working grippers and different grip stuff. The best starting point would be this book, How to Train Mastery of Hand Strength, John Brookfield. My book's special because if you look in here, this is Richard Soren pinch gripping 2 45-pound plates on page 8. He was one of the first guy to do that, at least popularize it. Richard Soren's from South Carolina. He signed mine, wrote on it. And what was funny when I went, he has, you know, he builds gym equipment, exercise equipment. So I tracked him down, went, walked in, asked him to sign the book. He kept me there for an hour, toured the whole place. It was pretty cool. But when he took me into his office to hand me some t-shirts and other swag, I think I got a coolie and a t-shirt and some stuff. Hanging on the wall is a AAA Nationals prize, like a plaque. I go, you competed? He goes, nope, Mary McConaughey did. So Mary McConaughey also knows Richard Soren, and she gave Richard her AAA Nationals championship prize. I go, that's pretty cool. I got Ron Bass, which I'll talk about later. In the next rope climbing video, I'll talk about Ron Bass, but this is a 2003 National Champion gym bag that Ron Bass won. And he gave it to me. I got second. I beat Michael Todd left-handed in that tournament. I'm undefeated against Michael Todd. But it was left-handed and nobody cares. Well, this has just been like a slow day. I'm running on the little sprocket today. I'm feeling it. People say, how can you arm wrestle with your wrist broke back like that? Well, if you train with your wrist broke back, it doesn't seem so odd in competition. I'm counting that as 105. We're going back to 100 on the left. Grippers, COVID, not much to say about COVID. You can watch my homemade equipment video. The latest matches. People are talking about wanting to hear about a comparison. People, a person anyways. Corey West, Lachlan, Jordan, soon to be Chance Shaw. I've been whooping a lot of young kids lately. Somebody call CPS. Don't, my ex-wife works there. So, it's just amazing when you think it's gonna go, the weight starts moving, it just stops. 110. Well, I lost 2 matches to Corey. He pinned me once the first time. I fouled out the second time. So he was obviously the tougher of the 3 guys. I think between the 3 of them, he would be the toughest guy to beat. He's just got height and power. Lachlan was the most. Lachlan tried more stuff. Lachlan tried at least 3 different hits on me. Corey pretty much kept trying the same thing over and over. Jordan tried the same thing twice and then tried to hit outside, but he wasn't that comfortable with it. When Lachlan's hand comes up, he's gonna level up very high. When Corey learns, he trains with Michael Todd, so when he either learns that King's move or a press or a top roll, he's gonna be a monster. But when you're one-dimensional and somebody figures out how to mitigate that one dimension, it's rough. The matches were a lot closer than they look. Super matches are rarely tight, close-fought affairs. It's usually somebody is a few percent better, and then it just looks like a blowout in super match form. So even 3-0, 5-0 super matches, a lot of times are closer than what they appear. My opinion, anyways. 110. I don't know if that one counts or not. We'll write down probably no. We'll come back to it. Certainly is waking up the arm. Back to 100 for left. Let's see. I think that's topic-wise. I think that's all there are other topics, but they would require more time or a person. Somebody wanted me to do talk about the Simplinkoff match left-handed. That I can't do during one of these. That'll be like a rope climbing video. I'm going to circle 90 pounds on the left. And I'm writing down 100 as failed 2 times, failed 3 times, 3-time losing, habitual offender. Because I'm the habitual offender. Whew. Told you I didn't feel much in my elbows, but I feel it in my elbows now. Those failed lifts. Whew, they ring a bell inside. I don't know, I've been really tired the last couple of days. It might be time to... Well, I don't work out Wednesday evening. I'm coming home tonight. Just going to bed. Eating too much and going to bed. Talking about going to bed, it's 5:30 in the morning. I'm already talking about going to bed. Maybe I've been pushing myself a little hard. Went to bed last night at 8:30, wake up at 3:30. I've been up for 2 hours. Man, I can't wait till I go to bed tonight. Because I'm the habitual offender. When you start getting tired, you start eating less. And normally I would have drank my whole shake by now. So I know I'm probably pushing things too hard. Because if you're tired, you stop eating. So you're not lifting as much because you're tired. Then you're not eating, so you're not lifting as much because you're not eating properly. So yeah, I need a day off. We'll see what it feels like Thursday morning. Oh, training styles would be another good one. You got basically the west side where you max out twice a week. You got the Sean Latimer philosophy, who he said he needed more time under the bar. And then comments by Brandon Allen, where he's maxing out like once a month. It'd be interesting to contrast all that, although that should probably be an interview, because I'd hate to like misrepresent what they say. I'm calling that a halfway. It moved, but I didn't put my hand down there. It stopped like here. I moved my body. The weight didn't move as far as it did at 100 or 105. I'll circle 105 and I'll put 110 as partial. All right, I'm just going to do wrist work with the same strap. I'm just going to lower it down to 50 pounds and grab it and just do some wrist work. And then I'm going to grab it and do the reverse vectors. And these videos tend to be too long anyway, so I'm not going to film that. All right. Call your mama. Tell her you love her.